early April 2017 at Lake Erie Chestnuts. I wanted to update you on me using my tubes with my conduit plastic stakes versus the planter stakes. And as you see down far, I'll zoom in, you see those vertical ones, those are the planter. We have pretty significant west prevailing winds, and you can see all the ones I put in on the top of the hill are leaning. So I'm going to straighten those up. I think if you see, I left about 8-10 inches above the tie, and while this one held okay, this one got pushed over. I don't think there's any long-term harm, but if you're going to do the 10-foot plastic conduit, cut it into 5-foot sections and then drive it all the way down to where the tie is just at the very top of the stake. I think that'll give you more support. Well, I've got the tube sticking up more straight now. If you're going to put in the tubing, the ones that I only drove 8 inches in, all bent in the wind. The ones that I put 12 to 14 inches did not. So keep that in mind when you're using pipe instead of those pre-made stakes from a tube company. Hope you have a great day. Now we'll take you inside and look at our chestnuts. It's April 8th. Looking at these, they're starting to spring up and they're going to put out their leaves and spread out here. They'll stop their upward growth here now and just put out leaf matter for the next couple weeks before they start putting up any upward growth again. So you can see, as usual, they look a little leggy because I just have regular shop lights. I also have some red oaks and some white oaks that I have started here, and we're having a good time growing these things. You sometimes wonder, or I get questions asking about what do I use for my soil. Well, I just use Miracle Grow potting mix. And yes, it does have fertilizer, and I've had a lot of questions about, is that good or bad? Does it burn the seedlings or not? Well, my seedlings have done just fine in the 3 years I've used it. So I would say it's fine, and it does seem to boost the plants. And I would say that every plant that you've ever grown from, or picked up from Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot has had fertilized potting mix from the time it was growing as well. So these all look like they're doing pretty good. Just checking in real quick so you can see what's going on here at Lake Erie Chestnuts, currently located in the bottom of my basement. Hope you guys are having a great growing season, making your plans for the spring and summer. I can't wait to get out there and start throwing some stuff in the ground. Check in, Lake Erie Chestnuts on Facebook. Post comments, post pictures. Get the comments going. I love reading about the stuff you guys have going on. Thanks again. Have a great day. Well, we're here at Lake Erie Chestnut Orchard. It's April 13th of 2017, and we're fertilizing. We are supposed to fertilize before the buds start to swell and then right after the blossoms finish. I follow the Missouri Chestnut Growers Guide for that. I'll post a link to that. And basically I've calculated out that I need to give about a half a cup per tree because these are 2-year-old trees. And basically I just sprinkle it around the tree. And my boy who's filming here is driving down the row, and I'm just scooping up this, so he's driving the fertilizer bag along and I'm fertilizing the tree. Just stomp on it. Now I'll take you inside here on April 13th, show you what our chestnuts look like here under the lights along with the oaks. Like I said, they're going to put a lot of vegetative matter out now that they've gotten up to their height, and they put tons of leaf out before they start sending up their next upward growth. They're looking great. Very happy trees. You can see them. Hope your guys' trees are doing great. Got a walnut right here. A black walnut I'll try to point out right there. And then we got some red oaks and some white oaks mixed in there. And then I got a few vegetables started here. We're going to be putting the rest of our chestnuts up underneath the lights here in the next day or two. I hope you guys are having a great time growing your stuff. Hopefully they're going well. Post pictures if you get a chance. Check in on Lake Erie Chestnuts on Facebook.com. Thank you. Yesterday I was able to use Facebook Live and walk around the orchard, and unfortunately I wasn't able to see the question that was posted while it was going, but maybe next time I'll bring a person and we can walk around and maybe I can field questions on the fly as you have them, and I'll try to give a notification so you can prepare and maybe have a few minutes to watch. In the meantime, I was out mowing the orchard and using my old lawnmower. I use that for my close work here. I mow around this and then I do a swipe each side of this to get about an 8 to 10 foot wide swath. These are the trees that have reached 6 foot and higher so that I don't have to worry as much about the deer browsing the tips off. April 27th, 2017. We're 2 days before the wild American turkey opening day here in Pennsylvania. And I'm working on mowing the orchard here. Still not mowing the entire floor, as I don't expect gigantic production, but I do expect a few nuts this year. So I'm mowing about a 8 to 10 foot swath here. Got them up above deer browse height, so this should come in looking real nice in the next couple mowings. Got a little bit of a storm rolling in. Trees are just leafing out. We're about 2 weeks ahead of normal schedule. So hopefully we don't get a late frost that hammers my poor baby chestnuts. If you look inside here, just you can get a sense. You can see that green right here by my thumb. Inside this microclimate of the tube, the trees have already leafed out. But you look at the tree otherwise, just above where it's not down in there, and the tree is a little farther behind. It's just a big bud coming out. But as you remember in the last video, a couple weeks ago, I had fertilized these trees, 2/3 of the amount of fertilizer for the year, with a goal of 18 inches of growth per year. So that was supposed to be right before bud swell, so I think we got it on there. Perfect timing. Next steps are going to be to fill in where we got a few dead ones. I got those at home. I'll be bringing those out here in the next couple weeks, getting them stuck in. And if any of you guys have any ideas on orchard management, on tree identification, or ways that you keep track of trees, I'm happy to hear those ideas, because I'm still doing pen and paper, pencil and paper, and that gets a little complicated, and I take pictures of it, but I'd hate to have to recreate it off of an old picture. It's a great day. The wind's blowing, the clouds are getting dark. I'm gonna tuck old beat up Johnny in the barn and head on home. Hope you guys have a great day. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's John with Lake Erie Chestnuts. It's May 15th, 2017. Thought I'd show you. This property is on a pretty steep hill, and this is the coming up from the first little shelf, coming up the ridge, and then you come up this kind of logging trail, and then you peek through up to the top of the hill, and that's where we start our orchard. We're all the way on the top here. I put it up here because it gets good sunlight and great air drainage to free up from late frost pockets. And you can see we come up to the more familiar site here. Just finished doing some mowing today. Looking beautiful. You can see that we're getting leaf out here. This tree is about 9 foot tall, and I expect it to branch extensively to this year, as it's gone up over 6 feet in this tube. With no lateralizing branches, I expect this year for it to really branch out. We did have the frost that's a little bit early, but they call it a Mother's Day frost. We had it about a week earlier than that, and the big important thing to look at is, did the very end leaf, try to get that focused, did it, try to get that to focus, did the very terminal leaf get freezer burn or frozen? And I don't believe it did. If that terminal bud gets frozen, only lateral branches will come out to the side, and it will drastically reduce your bloom. Get a beautiful view here of this one's about 10 foot tall. Robin egg blue skies. Had a lot of people ask me why I don't kill around the tree base, and to be honest with you, it's mainly time. It takes about 2 hours to mow this, and I don't see that the trees have really been harmed. We go for about 18 inches of growth per year, and we're seeing that kind of growth, so I'm kind of about to do what is necessary for the good of the plant. And if I can avoid herbicide, I will do that. One thing I'm finding interesting is the variation in the bud break. This is about, I guess, 700 feet lower than the top. And you can see that cold probably is holding in a lot longer here. Same variety tree, just the bud has barely broken. So we'll see how those catch up and if that affects harvest ever or production. Just a gorgeous day here, a little breezy. All right, hope you guys have a great day. Hope life is good, and hope your trees are doing great. Take some time to go out and enjoy nature. This is an example of a very frost damaged plant. This tree had already tried to leaf out and got near killing frost, and I have quite a few trees that have significant damage, if not killed, from a very late frost. We had an early spring and I was afraid of this. we had 28-degree temperatures after having about a 2 week earlier than average spring. So I'll have to update you on this, but I think I may have lost dozens of trees. Show you that Chinese chestnuts are not 100% chestnut blight resistant. That's Cryphonectria parasitica, and this is a 8-foot tree that I believe succumbed to chestnut blight. If you look right here at the base of the tree, you see that bright red and that the bark is all split. I believe that that is chestnut blight. Now the Dunson chestnuts reportedly have resistance to that, or some degree of resilience, even if they get it. It's still too early for me to tell. This is a tree that I have about 8 of that I got from the state of Pennsylvania State Tree Nursery. These are pure Chinese chestnuts. But you can see that the tree was doing great. It was almost 3/4 diameter, 3/4 inch. It had grown to be over 8 foot tall, was very healthy and vibrant, at least as far as I could tell last year. However, it looks like over the winter it succumbed to the effects of chestnut blight. That sucks. Well, today I started replacing some dead trees in the orchard. We replaced a total of 20. And I had my boys helping me. And you can see my seedlings in the back of the ATV. And we would go from tree to tree and make sure that it was alive and healthy. And here we got a tree growing, and that one's about 7-8 foot tall. This is 6 foot tall, 6.5 foot tall at the top of that tube. There's a frost damaged plant, struggling to make it. And then just right next to it, same variety of tree. Bent over from the wind, but looks good. My boy Mowing too. Got a family thing going on today. No thumbs up from the pre-teenagers. Some blooms here on the tree. It's gonna be a first year hopefully to get nuts. You can see quite a few. You go up the tree.
No, don't show me.
Beautiful tree. Chestnut orchard on June 1st, 2017. Another breezy day here, right at 70 degrees. We mowed up all the paths, making it look more like an orchard. Just a gorgeous day here. We've been replacing our trees that are either dead or obviously infected with blight. I think that totaled less than 15 trees total out of the 310. And I have plenty left to plant, but I'm going to put these in a nursery situation to fill in next year. So here are some of those that I've grown. They're about 18 inches tall. The far rows that you can see over there have trees growing out of them 2-3 foot out of the top of the 6 foot. So I anticipate they'll be 10, 11, 12 foot by the end of the year. Those are the trees that I planted in the spring of 2015. Those are the pure Chinese. All the rest are coming close to the top of their 5-foot tubes. Some are coming out of the top. For example, this is a seedling I planted just in the spring of 2016. I'm sorry, I've got to correct myself. That was also a seedling, a seed that I planted in the early spring 15. So it grew all 15, all 16, and now it's entering its third year, whereas those on the far side had already had one growing year, and I planted them as a bare root. This one was a Chestnut Ridge of Pike County chestnut, which is the American Chinese hybrid, and they only planted Dunstans, so without saying it's a Dunstan, it's from only Dunstans. So some of those are starting to come out of the tops, and you can see across this orchard there's quite a few that have done that. Gorgeous day. Hope you're having good planting success. Haven't seen any of your updates lately, so maybe I'll make a post seeing if you guys can post some of your success or failures like mine with frost damage. I don't know that I had any actual frost kills now that I look at it. It was very close, but I think most of them are going to make some sort of recovery. Thanks for watching. Well, hey everybody, it's John from Lake Erie Chestnuts. It's July 5th, 2017. I've talked to you this year about fertilizing a little more, and I referred to that chestnut growing publication by the University of Missouri that I published a link to previously, and I'll do it again. And right at bud break in the early spring, you want to calculate the fertilizer needs of your chestnuts for the year. And their recommendations is that you give 2/3 of that fertilization amount that you calculate right at bud break, and then you give the next and final third right around the times that we have blossom. So you won't be able to see from where you're at right there, but we have blossoms here. And there's, 50 blossoms on this tree maybe. And they're just starting to blossom, and that's when they recommend giving that final third amount of the fertilizer. And I published the calculations before. I'm just using a generic fertilizer I picked up from my feed store co-op. It's put out by the Anderson's Fertilizer, and it's 20-10-10. This is because some of the old pastures lack a little bit in the nitrogen department, and I'm looking for about 18 to 20 inches of growth per year for the first 5 or 6 years. Then I'll back off of the fertilization and let the nut production kind of guide me. But we're really trying to get up above deer browse height, which we have, and I'm getting growth that I want these to bush out now, so that when it comes time for me to mow this entire orchard floor instead of just the rows, that I am able to have branches that don't start until 6 feet. That way I'll be able to go under them with a tractor and mow very easily the whole entire orchard floor. And when it comes time for nut harvesting, should we invest in machinery rather than people, it'll be very easy to run that without running into branches. So basically, it's the same as you saw in the previous videos. This is going to be just about 1/3 of a cup. I'm going to be fertilizing other weeds and things, and people have commented on this, but as long as I see good top growth in trees that don't look like they're hurting, I'm not going to introduce herbicides into this. I'm trying to grow this orchard as naturally as possible. I'm going to feed human beings with these, and while I'm not 100% against herbicides and fertilizers if necessary that aren't organic, which this is not an organic fertilizer, I'm not going to do herbicide if I don't have to. It's more work, and I don't think that there's an added benefit for that amount of work. So I took a little break. I was fishing in Minnesota with my family, caught some great fish, had a great time with my family. I hope you're enjoying your summer. I'm planning a nice trip out west later this year. So hopefully you're having a great summer. Hopefully your trees are taking off. Post some of your pictures as you get a chance onto that page on Facebook, Lake Erie Chestnuts. Make sure you give us a like on YouTube. We keep producing these videos, and we'll grow chestnuts together. Thanks a lot for watching. everybody, it's John from Lake Erie Chestnuts. Just going to update you on my chestnuts here. I've been out traveling out west, as I said, and so I've been gone for a while. Hope all your chestnuts are growing well. Have you move in a little closer here, and we're going to show you one of our three first chestnut burrs that is growing here on this tree that's now 8 foot tall. And if you look up here, we have our first chestnut burr. And before it looked like it just had a few spines, and it's getting, if you want to tap on the screen right there on that to make it real in focus, it's starting to form its really spiny, dangerous exterior of its beautiful, sweet, precious cargo inside. So that's getting up. This is my finger here. It's getting to be about 1.5 inches, 2 inches in diameter on a tree that looks very healthy overall. So I'm going to show you a couple others of our other couple burrs, give you a little panoramic of the chestnut orchard, and then we'll wait for the fall. I'm going to keep this up. I haven't mowed it now for 3 weeks because I've been gone. Here's another one that you can see growing on a tree that's about 7.5, 8 foot tall. Looks pretty good. Well, God watered our plants for us, so 2.5 inches of rain while we were gone keeps them looking nice and green. I don't know if this is a pest or just a accidental here. This is a tree, one of the pure Chinese chestnuts. I believe of the Qing variety, Q-I-N-G, that I bought from Empire Chestnut Company in Carrollton, Ohio, from Mr. Greg Miller. It is in its 4th leaf. It's 3.5 years old now. This tree, I can reach almost 8 foot tall, and if you look, this is another yardstick beyond, so I would say about 11 foot tall. And I have quite a few trees like that. If you look in the background, it's starting to look like an orchard, people. It's got trees growing out of the top instead of growing tubes. So I'm fired up about that. Post some of your pictures below. I can't wait to see what you're doing with your chestnut growing. We're gonna get out of here. We got a storm coming. We got 3 chestnuts coming, baby. Hey everybody, it's John from Lake Erie Chestnuts. A little windy out here, so hopefully you can hear me. It is August 26th, 2017. I'm talking about tube maintenance. And we've had some various comments about why we don't keep these completely mowed up, and the basic reason is time, and it hasn't really affected the growth of my trees that I can tell. Later on, as the tree canopy comes out, I won't have to worry about this as much, and we'll end up mowing the entire orchard floor, but currently that's why I'm not doing it. But you see, I got lots of weeds growing out of here. That's going to choke out my trees. Once the tree's up here, if there's a few weeds, I'm fine with that, because that keeps branches down here from wanting to grow. Up here where all the sun is, that's where the leaves are going to grow, and I'm going to be mowing under this with a tractor, not with a lawnmower in the future, and I want my branches to start at about 6 foot. But to maintain these, I just lift the tube up a little bit, and then I reach under here and find anything that's not the stump and just start pulling things out. And sometimes you'll pull some of the tree out. See all of this choking up my tube. So that all happened within the past month, because I do this about every month. But this is a thing that either I didn't recognize as I may have thought was a shadow of a tree, and now it's shot up to do its seeding. But the tree itself is very short because it's struggling for sun. But we're gonna put this back in. That's why we do tube maintenance. If you don't, that tree may even die from lack of sun. We're doing that, plus putting tops on trees that are making it over the top. I've already had some deer browsing some of mine. And even if you spray the trees around the base, you will still get some coming up through the tube, because you don't want to get any of the herbicide on the bark. That's basil bark spraying is a way to kill young saplings, and it'll kill certainly our young chestnuts. And here we're going to tube a 2-year-old tree that I started from seed, and you can see that I try to tube them all at once rather than here and there, but it's probably better to do them here and there, because if you see right here, this tree has already been groomed by one of my beautiful white-tailed deer, and it's already had to send up this next branch. But you know, at least I got it up. It's kind of rebounded here, and I'm going to put a tube on top of it. Whatever this guy is, he is a common pest seen on my chestnuts. I don't see a lot of damage, but if anybody knows what he is, I'd like to know. I've seen him several times on my chestnuts. That's what I'm doing in my orchard, messing around with my trees. Hopefully you guys are having fun messing with your trees, and hope to see you around here. Make some comments if you get a chance. Hey everybody, it's John with Lake Erie Chestnuts, and I'm out here mowing the orchard for the last time, September 22nd, I believe. Crickets are singing. Grasshoppers making their noise. And we got one of our first 3 chestnut burrs here. And I put a little bag around to make sure if it pops open, hopefully I don't miss out on it. We haven't had much rain the last 2 or 3 weeks, so hopefully they do okay. I'm sure that's going to affect the size of the chestnut burr. In this video, I'm going to take a ride around the orchard and go down a couple rows and let you see what we're looking at now versus what we used to look at a year or 2 ago. Well, that pretty much concludes my 2017 chestnut season out here at the orchard. I've got 3 burrs to pick. I'm done with the summer maintenance. This time, hopefully for future falls on into infinity for me, whenever that might be picking plenty of chestnuts from now on. This year I get 3. Hopefully we have good weather next year, get a great blossom and set a bunch of burrs next year. But I'm pretty happy for having had an orchard out for a total of 3 years, really. I got some 4-year-old trees, but I've had them planted here for 3 years now. I'm very happy with how they're progressing. I hope that you guys are having a great time growing your own trees. If you haven't tried it, you got to try it. You never know how much fun it can be if you don't plant the actual tree, watch it grow, and then get to harvest fruit from that. It's fantastic. So if you're thinking about it, just try it. What are you out? 20, 30 bucks by the time you buy a few nuts and put something under a light or something like that, and a little bit of your time. I hope you're having some success with growing. Hopefully my videos have helped you some. If they have, put a comment on there. Post some pictures of your orchard or your few trees that you got out there, or maybe you put out 5,000 trees. I'd love to see it. I'll be posting little updates as the season goes on, as you know, just to post a picture here and there. If you have any ideas for videos or questions, put them there. I'll follow up on those. If you ever want to get a hold of me, you can send me a message through the system. That's the best way to get a hold of me. My phone number is also there. I try to answer those as best I can too. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great time in the great outdoors. Good luck growing some chestnuts. Folks frequently ask me, are my tubes enough to protect me from deer? What height should I grow? Will deer still bother to mess with them? The answer is the tube doesn't answer all of the problems with growing an orchard unless you fence the entire area. You can put tube plus fencing and protect better, but you'll still get all sorts of various pest problems and weeds growing up through. You can keep these weeds down, but still have a weed grow up in there and choke it out. You can have moles set up in them, but they do produce enough upward growth to get them up to 6 foot that I do them. But this is an example. This is my 3rd tree this year that has been destroyed by a deer. You see that he's been rubbed his antlers here. They've recently had their velvet come off. This tree was 7 foot tall plus, and here's, you know, the green leaves trying to survive, but it was snapped in half, rubbed up. And so what I'm left doing is making a decision on, am I going to let this tree that was 1 inch in diameter, that's got pretty good root system, see if it can send a leaf out quick enough and harden off? I'm just going to leave it just like this, and maybe it'll send some growth up, and if it does, I'll see how it does, and if it's doing okay next spring, I'll tube it back up. But right now I just leave this down to let me know something bad happened with this, and then I'll take the next step next spring if I have to replace it or whatever. That's why I continue to grow from seed to replace these orchards, even though I'm not expanding right now. I like to provide an update every now and then on how the seedlings are doing. This is a seedling I grew from a seed that I purchased from the Chestnut Ridge of Pike County. I purchased these in the fall of 2014. I cold stratified, started from the growing process inside in the spring of 2015, and then I planted it out in the orchard in the early summer of 2015. So this is completing its 3rd growing season. So 2015, all of 2016, now it's 2017. Now again, these were a victim of the fact that I didn't come up I thought 5 foot was going to be enough to protect from deer, and I ended up having to put this. So this one is chewed on some. But you can see this one, the one behind me, the one are all over 6 foot, and this was 8 foot plus. All just growing from seed. And you know, you get a lot of satisfaction from that. It's good to see that we have some success with those. I'm going to update you with a 2016 seedling that's almost as good. You can tell that this is a little older because it's got more branches. When it first comes out, it's just one branch. So give me a second and I'll catch you up with a 2016 seedling. Well, it's hard to see because I've got a non-reversible zip tie here, but this is a chestnut that started this last spring, and it's up this tall. You can see the shadow maybe in this thing up to right here. So if you can't see it, I'm sorry, I apologize, but this is a, you know, we got a lot of 5 footers, 4.5 foot, and then this next spring, the next year, after they get a year and a half, 2 years in the ground, they really take off.